I'm going to be making a really delicious recipe today. It's called torta al testo. It's a flatbread from Umbria in Italy. I'm going to start by making the bread dough. Got 500 grams of strong flour, and into the flour we're just using an instant yeast to keep it nice and easy. But if you've got the yeast that you need to activate, obviously just adjust accordingly. But first of all, I'm just going to add some salt and some sugar. So I would normally use table salt, but I'm just using sea salt because that's all I've got. So if you're ever making bread, put the salt on one side of the bowl, the yeast and sugar on the other, because the salt can actually stop the yeast from working. And I think it's 1 teaspoon of sugar. I want to put it on that side of the bowl. And yeast, we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of yeast. So 1, 2. I'm going to add a glug of olive oil. If you're lucky enough to have a dough mixer at home, you could do this all in a dough mixer. I'm going to do it just with a fork to start with, and 300 millilitres of warm water. So I'm just going to pour this in slowly and just start mixing it in. You can create a bit of a well in the middle. Start mixing all that yeast in. You might want to reserve a little bit of the water because you don't always use all of the water. Now at this stage, because it's a lot less sticky, you can actually get your hands in there. You don't want to get your hands right in there, just use the tips of your fingers, else you'll end up with dough all over your hands. The dough is looking good now. Just get those bits of dough off your fingers before you start kneading it. It takes about 10 minutes to knead, and then we're going to cover it in an oiled bowl with a damp cloth or a bit of cling film. You leave it for about an hour. But it's a nice sunny day today, it might actually be quicker. So it seems a bit strange, but I'm actually putting a bit of oil on my board. This is so you don't dry it out. You can obviously knead it in flour, but then you might get it too dry. So this is just a nice way of kneading the dough. So you might want to come up close and see this. Just going to fold it over and stretch it out with the heel of your hand, and just want to keep on working this. This is quite rough at the moment. In about 5 or 10 minutes it's going to look a lot smoother. And just keep working that with the heel of the hand and stretching it out so you've got a nice dough. Okay, I'll show you this in about what it looks like in 10 minutes. So this is the dough we made earlier. You might want to come and have a look at this. It's risen up lovely. Willow, you've washed your hands, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Yes, okay. Your first job is to punch the dough. Punch it. Harder. Harder. Well done, thank you. So knock back the dough and then onto a floured worktop. Can you rub that in for me, please? In circles, that's it. Nice, nice, brilliant. We're going to tip this out onto the floured surface. That's a really nice dough, isn't it? Do you think that's good dough?
Yeah.
So we're going to divide this into, quickly knead it just for about a minute. It's really nice and soft, this dough. So we're going to divide this into 6. So how are we going to divide this into 6, Willow?
We used a knife.
Should we start with halves?
Yeah.
Then each half we're going to divide into how many? To get 6.
3.
3. So let's do third, shall we? You want to get them quite even if you can. That's not too bad, is it?
No.
So let's put some to the side. I'll show you how to do one, and then you can do one, okay? So I've got my dough here. Just going to roll it and then put it onto the board like that. You might need a little bit more flour. I'm just going to squish it down a little bit. And then got my rolling pin. And then when we roll this, we're going to start in the centre and we're going to roll away from you and then towards you. So like this. And then give it a quarter turn and do it again. And don't worry too much about the shape, it can be a nice rustic shape. So let's make it a little bit bigger. You don't want it too thin though, so this is about right, about the thickness of a naan bread. And then onto a tray, we're just going to leave it there to prove. So when you're proving the bread, you just want to, do you want to start rolling that in your hands? You don't want to touch it at all when it's proven, okay? You just want to let it rest for about 10 minutes. Right, now squish it down flat with your hands. Keep squishing. Okay, you might want a rolling pin now, mightn't you? Does it feel a bit sticky?
Yeah.
A little bit. Rub the flour in. That's it. And now get your rolling pin away, and then towards. And then once you've done that a couple of times, you're going to give it a quarter turn. Well done, well remembered. And repeat. Now we're going to keep on doing this until all our trays are filled up. And that damp tea towel, we're just going to cover it and leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20, before we start to cook them. Okay, so we're going to crack on with this, and then we'll show you how to cook it in a minute. Should we see how they look?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Okay, so we've covered them with a damp cloth. They're risen up nicely. So we're going to cook these. Now, which one do you want to cook?
That one.
I'm going to cook that one first. Okay, so we're going to get a pan on with a bit of olive oil, which is already in the pan. Get it nice and hot. And when you're cooking these, you're going to need a slice, a bread knife, a fork, not that one, and a dry, clean tea towel. Now we're going to gently lift this up and just pop it into the pan. This one's a nice heart-shaped one. Want to have a look at this one? There we go. So you're going to keep an eye on this, and when we see any bubbles in it, we're going to pop the bubbles, okay? So it's just starting to sizzle in the pan now, and it's going to, what we want is it to toast on both sides, and then once it's toasted, we're going to lift it out and slice it open, a bit like a pita, and then we're going to stuff it with lots of yummy fillings.
See a bubble there.
Okay, just careful of the edge of the pan. So when you're doing it, instead of like that, do it from above, okay?
Okay. And
You see any more? That's it. Okay, let's see how it's looking underneath.
And this one.
Oh, looking good. That looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, you probably won't need to pop any more now. So what we're going to do, we're going to cook the other side, and I'm going to show you how we open it up, stuff it, put it back on the tray, and then once we've done all 6, we will pop them into the oven, and just so all the cheese will melt in the inside. So this one here, let's see how that side's looking pretty good. Now, I'm going to turn the heat off. Right, can you just stand to one side? I'll pop it here. Got my clean tea towel. Just pop the tea towel out here. Put it in the tea towel. Now, when we cut this open, obviously you need a grown-up to do this bit, because you're going to be using a sharp knife. I've got a long bread knife here. I'm going to slice it open. If it's not quite cooked in the middle, I've got a little trick that you can do. So you're going to open it up like a book. Now that's a bit doughy there. Most of it's cooked, but there's a little bit doughy there. So what we're going to do, just lift it up, pop it back in the pan, just for a minute until that bit of raw dough's cooked. And it kind of just crisps up the inside a bit. So what I'm actually going to do, because we're not going to eat all of these now, we're going to maybe cook a couple of them. The others, once you got to this stage, you can cool them down, wrap them up and put them in the freezer and just use them at another time. That's the plan with these. So it's all ready to fill. Let's get our fillings here. And do you want some more green olives as well? A couple of them?
Yeah.
Sliced up tomato. Do you want to put the carrot and cheese in?
Yeah.
There we go. Looking good. This is going to be absolutely delicious. When they're baked in the oven, they're really tasty. Are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put that there. Close it up. I'm going to pop it on there. And then just to finish it off, a little drizzle of oil. There we go. And a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm trying to put a sprinkle of salt on there, just a little bit of salt. Okay. And a little bit of pepper. So just grind up right straight on top, okay?
Okay, here's the spoon.
Thank you. Lovely. Okay, so we'll do another one and then we'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven. You're going to put them in the oven for kind of about 5 or 10 minutes, a nice hot oven until all the cheese is melted. So let's have a look in the oven. Are you happy to be the taster with it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. These ones we put in first of all. What do you reckon? Do they look good?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the first one. And this one here. I mean, you can eat it like a big giant sandwich if you want, but I think to make it a little bit easier, I might just chop it into half. Might need to give it a little blow. Shall I cut it into quarters?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, why don't you give that one a little blow? Hold it in both hands. Good? Okay.